ED has now sought 10-day custody remand of the Delhi Chief Minister. What's the latest that you're learning from the court?
देखिए, ईडी जो है अब सुनवाई शुरू हो चुकी है राउज एवेन्यू कोर्ट में, और ईडी जो है 10 दिन की रिमांड मांगी है, जो हमारे पास ग्राउंड जीरो से जो खबर आ रही है। अब ये देखना होगा कि आखिरकार राउज एवेन्यू कोर्ट कितने दिन की ईडी की रिमांड देती है अरविंद केजरीवाल को। और ये जरूर है कि जिस तरह से ईडी द्वारा ये साफ चीज़ें रखी जाएंगी कि आखिरकार वे जो कड़ियां हैं उसको जोड़ना है, तो ऐसी स्थिति में अरविंद केजरीवाल से उनको पूछताछ करनी है। ऐसे में उनको कम से कम 10 दिन की रिमांड चाहिए। और अभी जो है दोनों की ओर से, यानी अरविंद केजरीवाल के वकील और ईडी के वकील, अब इस पर जो है अपनी बात रखेंगे, और उसके बाद देखना होगा कि कोर्ट कितने दिन की रिमांड देती है।
Rakesh, other than this, are we being able to understand anything of the strategy currently being employed then by Arvind Kejriwal's lawyers? We were told in the morning that they took away the petition that was filed in last night before the Supreme Court. So clearly, as many lawyers who had joined us last night as well, they said that this is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, expecting the Supreme Court to open its doors. And in the morning, news comes in that Arvind Kejriwal has in fact taken that petition back, and he's now seeming like he wants to cooperate and deal with the case as the law now prescribes for everybody else.
देखिए, ईडी कोर्ट में ये बताएगी कि क्या सबूत है और किस लिए रिमांड चाहिए। इसको लेकर जो है ईडी के जो वकील हैं दलील देंगे, साथ ही साथ अरविंद केजरीवाल का जो वकील हैं वो अपनी बातें रखेंगी। तो ईडी का प्लान पहले रिमांड और फिर होगी पूछताछ। तो ये महत्वपूर्ण चीज़ें हैं। और जिस तरह से ये मामला केजरीवाल ने जो आखिरकार बदली है रणनीति और ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट से वापस अर्जी ली है, तो पहले पीएमएलए कोर्ट में चढ़ाई और वकीलों की एक तरह से कहें कि यहाँ पर बहस देखने को मिलेगी कि आखिरकार ईडी बताएगी कि क्या सबूत और क्यों जरूरी है रिमांड।
Right, absolutely, Rakesh. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Rakesh, in fact, if you can also tell us what really is the situation like on the ground in the national capital. We're getting some very dramatic visuals of the protests that are taking place. What's the situation on the ground like?
देखिए, अब जिस तरह से आईटीओ पर, जो कि डीडीओ मार्ग पर आप पार्टी का ऑफिस है वहाँ पर, और वहाँ पर जिस तरह से आपने सुबह से ही आपने देखा था कि आप पार्टी के नेता कार्यकर्ता जो है जिस तरह से प्रदर्शन कर रहे थे, वहाँ पर अभी सूरत-ए-हाल ये है कि अभी स्थिति नियंत्रण में है, लेकिन उस रोड को ब्लॉकेट किया गया है। तो ये जो है आपको अगर जमुना पार से अगर आप रेलवे स्टेशन पहुंच रहे हैं, तो ऐसी स्थिति में आपको रोड को ब्लॉक किया गया है। साथ ही साथ वहाँ पर ट्रैफिक जो है हैवी है। तो ये जरूर है कि आप पार्टी का जिस तरह से सुबह में प्रोटेस्ट आपने देखा था, और दिल्ली पुलिस पूरे मामले को लेकर नज़र रखी हुई है और सुरक्षा के पुख्ता प्रबंध किए गए हैं। चाहे अरविंद केजरीवाल की कोर्ट में पेशी हो, वहाँ पर आपने सुरक्षा का आपने देखा कि किस तरह से पुख्ता प्रबंध किए गए हैं, और साथ ही साथ जो विभिन्न इंस्टॉलेशन है वहाँ पर भी सुरक्षा बढ़ाई गई है, इंक्लूडिंग ईडी दफ्तर की।
Okay, Rakesh, stay on with us. Mr. Ramakant Gaur, we've learnt now, sir, as far as the court proceedings are concerned, the Enforcement Directorate, as was pointed out by you as well earlier, has now sought custody of Arvind Kejriwal for the next 10 days. What really then becomes the cycle for the Enforcement Directorate? Because I think there's only a certain period of time for which they can ask for custody. And then, of course, once that time lapses, they'll probably ask for more time, and that cycle really continues, which is exactly what had happened with Manish Sisodia as well. It started with about 10 days, then after 10 days, they sought 14 days, and now it's been a very long time since he's been behind bars.
See, as far as the remand is concerned, they cannot request the court more than 14 days. So they have asked for remand for 10 days. Normally what happens is court give remand for 5 to 7 days in such circumstances. And if the need arises, it can be extended for another 5 to 7 days. After that, the judicial custody is granted. A person is sent to Tihar and that is called judicial custody. There will be no custody of the Directorate of Enforcement. It will be a custody of the court. So he will be remanded into judicial custody. Why, Devika, I come on a different aspect as you were discussing with your colleague on withdrawal of the plea by Arvind Kejriwal in Supreme Court. What happened is that in the morning itself, the court showed disinterest in entertaining any kind of petition or prayer relating to bail direct before the apex court. So in K. Kavita's case, court said we will not entertain your bail application or your bail plea. So you withdraw that. As far as the challenge to the constitutionality or legality of any act or judgment is concerned, we'll consider that and we'll tag that with the other review petitions. But we will not entertain you on the bail plea. So K. Kavita's bail plea was withdrawn this morning itself. Subsequently, this matter of Arvind Kejriwal was mentioned, and the court gave the same kind of mind. And thereafter, Mr. Singhvi had withdrawn his bail plea, and now he is contesting the remand before the court. But what is the challenge before Dr. Singhvi is why Arvind Kejriwal refused or evaded to appear before the Directorate of Enforcement. Fine. See, he might be a chief minister. He might be appearing before or with in any social platforms. He might be busy here and there. But if an investigation is being contemplated, is being carried out by a national investigating agency, like ED is a premier investigating agency, there are charges of hundreds of crores of corruption and corrupt money being floated into various other ways and means. Attachments are there. Then he has to come forward. He has to put his bold face. He cannot play victim card and say, they want to arrest me. All right, they might be inclined to arrest you, but you need to respond to the summons. You need to say that this is not the crime, the allegations are false. This is my point of view. He could have gone to the courts earlier also. But his conduct for these investigational proceedings is really condemnable. I don't know what the trial court would say, but if I see in the general practicing parlance, then his conduct cannot be considered as a good conduct which requires any leniency from the courts of it.
But at the same time, Mr. Gaur, if the ED could have requested for 14 days at a stretch, why do you think they've gone for a strategy of just asking for about 10 days this time around?
He may not be required for 10 days. It's like a bargain. Let me tell you, this might be a strategy, because normally courts do not grant 10 days remand.
Okay.
At least here the Delhi courts do not give 10 days remand straight away. And in this particular case, they may not consider. So, they may be wanting custody for 5 days, 3 days, 7 days. That may be a strategy. So,
yes. Okay.
It will not be required.
Okay. Before I bring in Chandni, Mr. Gaur, just one last question to you. Given whatever time the Enforcement Directorate will be now granted by the court, what is their duty and what's the onus on them at this point in time? What is it, the bare minimum that they are supposed to now prove before the courts to ensure that they can keep Arvind Kejriwal in the court's custody?
Chandni,
Devika, sir.
Devika, you have put another very valid questions, and I'll give two perspectives to this. A, Enforcement Directorate prima facie failed in this case. You see, Satyendra Jain is in custody since 30th May 2022, where the trial has, whether the trial has commenced, whether the evidence has been led against him or in the entire case. See, Arvind Kejriwal was summoned in October 2023 only. What happened to the trial of this case? Why is it being dragged? So the conduct of the investigating agency is also not very good. So the courts are very cautious, and in one of the matters, Justice Sanjeev Khanna said this to the investigating agency, that you are filing supplementary charge sheets time and again just to prevent the bail. And this might be the reason of Arvind Kejriwal for not appearing before the investigating agency. Though it may be valid or not, that will be considered by the courts. But the conduct of the investigators is also not above board. They have to behave or act within the four corners of law. Here it is the case where it can be pleaded that the investigation can be expedited, or the role of Arvind Kejriwal has to be ascertained in light of previous statements of the co-accused persons or the witnesses. And the courts must watch this, that actually justice is not only done, it seems to have been done as well.
Right, absolutely. Chandni, bringing you back into the conversation, as far as the optics of this is now concerned, what is your assessment? Does Arvind Kejriwal then appear even stronger than before? Does this somewhere play into what the Aam Aadmi Party or the Congress or the opposition is saying, that the BJP was in fact terrified of Kejriwal, and that entire narrative that was being spun? What does this really play into as far as the optics and the politics of it is concerned? Because it is, we can't deny it, election season.
Yeah, first of all, Devika, I'm really sorry if there is a lot of disturbance because I'm at the airport. When it comes to Kejriwal and his credibility, let me tell you one thing. Kejriwal started off as a person who was against corruption, who was sitting with Anna Hazare during his fastings. So today, when Anna Hazare himself is giving out a statement like that, whatever is happening today with Arvind Kejriwal is his own deeds, and he's very upset about it. It speaks volumes about what Kejriwal had actually portrayed himself as and what he has actually turned out to be. And honestly, Bharatiya Janata Party or Narendra Modi or Amit Shah, I do not think so. There is even an iota of truth in the statement that they are afraid of Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party. कहते हैं ना, कुछ लोग अपने लिए गड्ढा खुद खोदते हैं. Arvind Kejriwal is one of them. He is someone who would who has literally dug his own grave by evading summons, by being a part of a party which has ED has established, who has taken backs. Not a part. In fact, he is heading the party. And I guess who's heading the party, he needs to be questioned on, how the kickbacks, how many kickbacks did he take, where all those kickbacks were used, who all were involved in this scam. Because if, as a chief minister of a state, if he does not know that what his deputy chief, minister and what his people in his cabinet were doing, I think he is not even fit to be the chief minister of the state anymore. Let alone, ED grill him. I think the chief minister should also be changed, and there should be re-elections for the Delhi state.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.